Codecasts. I'm Andrew Kane.
And I'm Ruben, and in this video we're going to be looking at pointers.
So far, we've been using built-in data types, and we're starting to look at custom types in order to declare the kinds of data that we can store in the variables in our programs.
Yeah, and really that's been great because I've been using these custom data types in my programs to model different entities for different reasons, but is there a way that we can, link those entities together?
Okay, one thing that we could do in order to do that, there's a number of ways, but one thing that we could look at is the use of pointers. And pointers can help us create flexible relationships between the data that we have inside our programs.
Okay, that's cool. Because I've got this little program here, and it's completely original. It's great. It's unique. It's a fantastic idea, and it's going to allow people to link up with their friends. And
sounds very original.
Yeah. Look, great name for it too. I've called it Friend Book.
Oh yeah.
And look, but at the moment, the limitations are that there's me. I can create, a representation of me within the program and another person, but I'm struggling to find a way to link me and that other person together.
Okay, yeah, so this does sound like a case where we can use pointers. But what I think we'll do, rather than looking at this example, why don't we have a look at something a little bit smaller to start with?
Okay.
And we'll have a look at the details of pointers, and then we'll come back and look at this. So here's a little pointer basics program that I've written. And what we're doing in here is just demonstrating the different ways that we can use pointers.
Okay, but before we go on, Andrew, what exactly is a pointer?
Okay, that's a great question. So a pointer is another data type. So we can create variables. All variables store a value. A pointer stores the address of some other value. So remember that all of these values actually exist somewhere in memory.
Yep.
And each location in memory is a unique location. The value inside a pointer is that location in memory.
Okay.
That's one way of thinking about it. Probably an easier way is to think about it as a pointer, like an arrow. Yeah, this variable points to another value.
Oh yeah.
We'll go back over it again in a bit. Hopefully it will make more sense.
Yeah.
All right, so what we've got in this program is a number variable, and it stores an integer.
Yeah.
Then I have an I pointer variable, and
Okay.
it stores a pointer to an integer.
Right.
So pointers, when we create pointers, they point to something. So this is a pointer that at the address that it refers to should be storing a number, an integer value.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we follow that pointer, what we should get to is a number.
So it doesn't actually store an integer, it stores the address of an integer.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it says there is an integer over there,
Okay, cool.
and then it points
Yeah.
to where we're going. And we have another variable here, y, which is also an integer pointer.
Yeah.
All right. When the program executes, we can assign 100 to number. So that puts the value 100 in the number. Mm-hmm. When we print that out, we can read that value, and that reads back the actual value of that variable. Now, if we want to store a value inside the I pointer variable, IPTR, it's going to have to be a pointer
Okay.
to an integer. So I can't put a number like 100 in there because that is
Yeah.
an integer. But I need to store the address of a number. So we know that I have this integer variable number here. What we can do is get the address of that number variable. So notice the symbol there. That indicates that we want the address of that variable.
Yeah.
So I'm not after the value of that variable. I want to know where that variable is in memory.
Okay, sure.
That will get the address of that and store that in the I pointer variable. And we can think about that now as I pointer points to the number variable.
Yeah.
And so if we then print out, I pointer points to a value, we can follow the pointer. We do that using this symbol. And that means read the value, which is an
Address.
Yep, so I pointer is the address. We then, with that other symbol here, we follow that pointer. So that means go to that address.
Yeah.
Actually go there and read the value that's there. So this is going to print out the value 100 because that's the value stored in the number variable.
Okay.
But we didn't actually, notice we didn't use number on that line. We used I pointer.
Yeah.
But we then followed that pointer to print out where it is. Now we can actually also print out the value of I pointer. So this is now going to print out, well, what is the address that it refers to?
Okay. So that will print out the address in memory where that value is located.
Yeah, that's right. So if we actually had another way of getting to it, if we could get to that piece of memory, we would see the value 100.
Yeah.
Because that's where in memory number is currently stored.
Okay.
Yeah. If we then, now the other thing we could do, we can use the pointer. We can use it to read the value, like we've done here where we printed the value out. We can also assign a value to that location. So if we get the pointer and we follow that pointer, so use the same symbol again,
Yeah.
and we put that on the left-hand side of an assignment statement, it means take the value on the right-hand side and assign it to wherever that pointer points to.
Oh, yeah.
So it means follow, get the value 200 and store it. Where do we store it? Well, where that pointer points to.
Yeah, yeah. So at that location in memory.
Yeah, so that will be
Or the number variable.
Yeah, that's right. Because I pointer points to the number variable, we follow that pointer and it store the value in that location in memory. So when we print it out, we can print out the value of the number variable, and it will have changed to 200. And we can also print it out using the pointer.
Yeah.
You can also copy pointers from one variable to another. So we have that y variable, which is also a pointer to an integer. And I could just say y is assigned the value of I pointer.
Yeah.
And that will copy the address from I pointer into y. So now y will be pointing to...
Number.
That's right. So now the really cool thing is we actually have 3 different ways of accessing the value at that location in memory. So we can access it via the number variable, which was the actual variable itself. We can access it via I pointer. So we can get the I pointer, follow that pointer. That will take us to the number variable. We can go to it via the y variable as well. I think there's one problem with this. I mean, we could just use the number variable throughout this program, yeah? So this isn't what you would use pointers for.
Okay.
But it's just demonstrating the different symbols and how we use them.
Yeah.
So basically with pointers, you can do a couple of things. You can, you need to be able to do a couple of things. You need to be able to get the address of something.
Yeah.
And then that is a pointer. You could then store that in a pointer variable. You then need to be able to follow that pointer.
Yep. So follow
Yeah.
the pointer to the address that it leads to and get the value.
Yeah, that's right. Or put the value there.
Okay.
Yeah, so whether we're reading or writing to that location in memory. And that's really it. Other than that, a pointer variable is just like a normal variable. So you can read the value of the variable. You can store new values in that variable. You could pass it to another function if you wanted to. So we could pass the address of that number variable to a procedure and do something.
Yeah.
Follow that pointer and then change the value in that variable from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And actually, here's another example I've got that does exactly that. So this is a program that swaps 2 numbers in memory.
Okay.
So in main here, we've got seed number A and number B.
Yeah.
We store 5 and 10 in there. And then we call the swap procedure, and we pass in the address of number A and the address of number B. So inside swap, first and second will point to, well, first will point to...
number A.
And second will point to...
Number B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the code inside here reads it reads the value of the first pointer. That's the address of number A. We follow that, so we actually go to that address.
Yeah.
So follow that pointer. We read the value, so that would be 5. We store that in temp.
Yep.
Yeah. Then on the next line, well, we read the second pointer. That's the address of number B. We follow that, and so we get the value
10.
Yeah, and we store that over the top of
the first pointer.
Yeah, we follow the first pointer, so that's actually going to store it over the top of
number A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, number A and number B are both 10 back in main.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then we need to put the 5 back, which is why we stored it in temp.
Yeah.
We read the value of temp, which is an integer, so that's just the number 5.
Yep.
And we can store that where? Well, we get the second pointer, which is the address of number B.
Yeah.
Thank you. We then follow that pointer, and we store the value there. So this is actually going to store 5 into number B in main.
Yeah.
So when that procedure ends, we have done exactly what it says it's going to do, swap, the number A and the number B. So this is some case where pointers are actually useful because it lets us sort of break down that divide between these two procedures.
Oh, yeah.
Because now the parameters in that swap are able to manipulate the values from main.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually a very common way that we use pointers. So some languages support a feature called pass by reference.
Yeah.
Pass by reference allows you to tell the language to do all of that pointer magic for you. It's just pointers. Like, there's no real magic. But the compiler is taking care of the pointers for you. So what we can do, when we declare the procedure, we can indicate that we want those parameters passed by reference.
Okay, so this is doing basically what you were doing before with pointers, but the compiler's handling that for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it does all of it. It does the getting the address of number A and number B in main. Yeah. And when we use first and second inside the procedure, it's dereferencing those pointers for us.
Yeah.
So we don't have to actually see it. And you can think about this as being the fact that we pass across a variable to each one of these. So I'm passing across a variable to first and second.
Yeah, okay.
Not just the value, but the variable.
Yep.
Because we can then read and change the value in that variable that we get given. There is one limitation, of course. When we call swap, we now have to pass in two integer variables. We can't pass in like the number 5 and the number 10.
Yeah.
Because you can't get the address of a number in a program. You can only get the address of a variable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, look, taking all that into account, is there any way that we can sort of implement pointers into my my friend book application?
Okay, well so what we wanted to be able to do here, so you wanted to have inside, you've got a person record here.
Yeah.
And each person, you've got a name and an email. And then what do you want to be able to do?
Basically, what I want is I want each person to be able to have a friend. So, you could ask me, who is your friend? And I could point to that friend.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Thanks for using pointers. Yeah, so that's exactly right. So what we could do in here is we can declare a pointer to your person data record. And we could have that as each person data record could have the name, email address, and a friend. And the friend will be a pointer to another person data value.
Yeah.
And this will enable, for example, me to be your friend, you to be my friend at the same time.
Yep.
Which we couldn't do if we tried to copy that data in there. Imagine if we could somehow copy like the person data into, so each person had a name, friend, and then the data related to that person.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work because we would end up with duplicate copies of each person throughout your program. So using a pointer is the way we can do this. Now that would mean what we can do back here in your read person function. We can assign the person or the friend for the person that we're reading in nothing to start with. There's a special pointer. It's called the null pointer, and that is what we use to say this pointer currently points to nothing. So this is a way of saying that when we read the person in, they don't have a friend at that point, and we can assign that later on. We can then use that when we print them out, so we can check if if the friend is not nothing. We can then print out the friend's name.
Yep.
So the way we would do that is access the toPrint, which is a person.
Yep.
Yeah. When we access the friend, that's going to be
That's a pointer.
Yeah. So if we follow that pointer, what's at the other end?
A person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we could then get their
name.
Yeah. And so we could print out the name of the friend of the person toPrint.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's the way I would think about it. So you've got the toPrint is a person. We access friend, which is, as we said, it's a pointer.
Yeah.
We then follow that pointer and read the name.
Yep.
Now, of course, if friend is nil, that means
they don't have a friend.
Yeah, very sad.
Very.
And we would then print, we could print out another message. So we wouldn't want to, if we tried to access that friend pointer that like we've done back here, and it was null, then that would crash. So the program would terminate because we've tried to read
something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I can use the idea of pointers to link the people together in my friend book program. So down here in main, I can get the address of other or my friend.
Yep.
And I can store that as my friend.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So you've got the me variable here, and it has a friend field.
Yeah.
So we can, as you said, read the address of the other person.
Yeah.
And store that in me.friend.
Okay. And
so when we print that out, it should print out their name.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to run through how this is going to work?
Okay, cool. So when the program starts, it starts at main. And as you can see, there's two variables declared there, okay? Me and other.
Yeah, so it allocates space big enough to store two person data values.
Yeah, that's correct. And as you can see here, person data has a name, an email, and a friend, which is our pointer to a friend.
So each one of those variables is big enough to store all of that data.
Yeah, that's correct. So after that memory has been allocated, the program then needs to assign some data to our me variable first. All right?
Yeah, so it executes, we've got here this assignment statement.
Yeah.
And it executes the read person function and stores the result in me.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, cool. So let's have a look at this read person function.
Okay, so when read person executes, we've got our result variable, which is of type person data.
Yep.
So that's what the function is going to return.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. It writes a simple prompt, which is what we specified
what
when
we
we called
passed
the
in.
function.
Yep.
That's correct. And then what we need to do is assign a value returned by read string to the result's name.
Okay, cool. So what will we have the user type in as the string?
What about Fred?
What? Because this is me, so we may as well let's make it you, Ruben.
Okay, yeah. Well,
All right, so
Ruben will do just fine.
You can be friends with Fred.
Okay.
All right, so Ruben is returned, and we assign that to results name. Mm-hmm. All right, and then
we call read string again and assign the result to the results email.
Yep. So what are we going to put in as your email?
Look, let's just put ruben@wilson.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yep. Cool. And that's going to be assigned there.
Yep.
And the last step.
Well, the last step is because I don't have a friend at this point.
At this point, yeah. At this point.
Yeah, is we're going to assign null as my pointer to my friend.
Yeah. So at this point, you have nil or null. Yeah, no friend.
Yeah.
And then we return. So that function ends. We return the result. So it's going to return all of that data back to main, and it will all be stored into the me variable.
Yeah.
So that means you're going to get a copy of
my name, my email, and
the friend value.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of those values get stored back in there because it's a record.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So then the next line calls read person again and stores the result in other. So let's go back to read person.
Okay. And same as before, the function initializes its result variable, which is of type person data.
Yep.
And we need to assign the value returned by read string to the result's name.
Yep.
Okay.
So this time we will use Fred.
Yeah, we can use Fred here.
Yeah.
That's fine. We call read string again to assign the result that returns to the result's email.
So this time it'll be fred@fred.com.
Yep, that'll do just fine.
Yep. And we store that in result email.
Yep. And as before, Fred doesn't have a friend just yet, so we want to assign the pointer to his friend as null.
Yeah, and then we return that, and so that returns back the name, email, and friend data, because that's the record.
Yeah.
All of that data back, which we store into the other.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
So now we're at the point where we need to be able to actually link those two values together. So link me, okay, and other, which is Fred.
Yep.
And the way that we do that is we get the address of other here,
Yep.
alrighty, and we assign that to my friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me.friend. Yeah. So that would actually put the address of that variable, and we can think of that as a pointer, can't we? So we can actually say, this variable here points to that bit of data over there.
Exactly. So what was null before is now a pointer to my friend Fred.
Yeah. So it will be the address of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then finally we call print person. Okay, and we're passing the variable me as a parameter to that procedure.
Yeah. Now this is actually being passed by reference, so that's actually using a
pointer.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, and we didn't actually have to do any of that pointer magic. It gets the address for us there, and up the top here where we use it, it just follows it magically.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so in this procedure, we're going to print out
the name.
My name.
So that's going to be...
Ruben.
Yep.
Okay. My email, which was ruben@wilson.com.
Yep.
Okay. And
now we check your toprint.friend. So if we grab toprint, now that's actually a pointer. So we follow that pointer because that's done automatically
Yeah.
for us because of the pass by reference. And that gets us a pointer to me back in main.
Yes.
And we read the value of friend. Does that not equal null?
Yes, that does not equal null.
Yeah, that's right. So there is actually a friend. You do have a friend at this point. So we execute this line of code here.
Yep. So that's going to print a little message to the terminal that says that I am friends with my friend's name, which in this case is Fred.
So we grab toprint. We grab friend, which is a pointer.
Yeah, and we follow that pointer.
Yeah, and then we read the
name.
Yeah, because what we got at the end of the friend was the whole person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could actually have read his email address or name or found out who he was friends with.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. Then print person finishes, and that's the end.
End of the program. Okay, so we've got a couple of extra examples here. The first one is bank account.
Yeah, so the bank account has a customer.
Okay.
Yeah, so this way you could have multiple accounts that all had the same one customer.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other one I've got here is a player's turn. So in this game, we've got multiple players and they take it in turns. But we can have the current player is a pointer to one of the players.
Okay.
And that way we could change which player the current player is.
Yeah.
And from the game's perspective, we have always got a current player. Okay, that's it for pointers. Pointers allow you to create flexible relationships within the data in your program. They allow you to refer to things. So rather than always having just the data itself, we now have a way of saying, the bit of data you want is actually over there.
So some of our other videos that you should check out is the video on enumerations, okay? And we've also got one on records. So if you haven't already checked that out, you should probably check out our video on records.
Yep, and if you're ready to move on, the next topic is probably a good one to check out is arrays. Arrays are pretty cool.
Cool.
Hope you've enjoyed that, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
This has been a Swinburne production.